With John Ross, obviously everyone's going to talk about the 40. His 4.22 240 has never been done before, and that's a given. But what really sold me on him as a prospect after watching him this past year was just his ability to separate versus practically any type of coverage. Because no cornerback that I ever saw that he ever went up against was ever confident in their first steps. They were always in constant retreat mode. They were always afraid of making a false step because whenever they did, Ross would just burn him, and it was just no contest. There's no cornerback on this earth that can possibly keep up with him in a foot race. And not only is that going to help on deep routes and post routes, but it's going to help when he's selling the vertical route and he's just got the cornerback in constant retreat mode and constant fear. He's just going to get crazy separation all day long, and that's exactly what the Bengals need on the outside as a boundary receiver. That's exactly what they need as an offense to really elevate back to their 2015 level of production.
Now, I'm not so much happy about the pick, but I am very, very excited. And I think that comes with a guy like John Ross, who has world-class speed and world-class agility, and that being paired up with an A.J. Green and a Tyler Eifert, you know, that basically sounds amazing, but I don't think that potential will actually be reached. And that's because we have a conservative offense, and we have a guy like Andy Dalton, who is a one wide receiver dominant kind of thrower. So that flash and that electricity that John Ross brings, I don't think will actually, be there as much as we think that it will be. Now, me personally, I would have went with Jonathan Allen. Now, a lot of people are cold on hot and cold on Jonathan Allen. They either love him or they don't. But I don't think that you can ignore the fact that on a bunch of mock drafts, he was top 4, top 5. Even having him at 2 sometimes. And I mean, Mayock's best available, they had him as the second best player in the entire draft. So me personally, I would have went there. Or if all could have went right, I would have traded down. And the reason why I say that is because there was a bunch of people that were not expected to be in that top 10 range, getting picked. So I do think that if we would have traded down, got an extra pick or two, and gotten a Reuben Foster or a Hassan Reddick or an O.J. Howard, all of these guys were available, and I think that we settled with a guy who, seems exciting, but I don't think will actually reach, that potential. But, I'm very excited for it. I really hope that it works out, and I hope that Andy Dalton will be able to take advantage of having the fastest man in the entire NFL, along with one of the best wide receivers as well.
So I have a completely different take on this, and that is because I, unlike you guys, have been fired from this show more times than I can count. I want to say 12, but I can count to 12, and it's more than that, okay? And when you're fired from this show, it's very subtle the way Daddy-O and Cincy Jungle work. It's very underhanded, and they're very nice about it at first. Daddy-O picks up the phone, he pretends to defend you. The phone's really not on because the red light's not on. And then these people come in and your stuff is in a box. They're really scary. I mean, it's really 2 small little ladies, but they're intimidating. They escort you outside the building. They change the codes. It's very subtle. And that's what's happening here. I hope you guys can read the writing on the urinal. Andy Dalton is being fired, or he's being not fired but traded, and he's being set up for a trade. Why? Because this John Ross guy is too fast for his arm. He doesn't have the arm to have the ball catch up to him. Now, so hiring him means that they want someone else to be throwing to him. And we all know that AJ McCracken has that arm. Part 2 of the puzzle, and it's really the last part, is they won't get rid of this guy, AJ McCarron. It's like they seem not to want him to start, but they also won't trade him, even though they can get tons of stuff for the guy. So what's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. It's clear that what's going on is they are setting up the team to trade Dalton in a really big way and have McCarron step up. And my message has been getting through to them, and that's great news. I think great, if you don't mind my saying, ballsy move by Marvin Lewis and the gang. I'm surprised. Hats off to you.